What's up, people? This is the Nature Girl 30 here, and I'm giving you a Smackdown review for December 9th. Now, I'm not gonna lie, I actually like my Smackdowns and my Raws to start off with a bang, and this started off with a bang. Booker T laid out on the ground for we have no idea why, because we end up finding out later on he was completely ambushed by Cody Rhodes. Now, I'm liking this because they're definitely setting up a feud between Booker T and Cody Rhodes, so this was a great way to do it. And more than likely is going to probably be involved in the pay-per-view, and I will talk about that later on. But honestly, the one thing that confused me the most was the return of Lillian Garcia. Why? Is it that bad to the point where they have to bring somebody back that, that was somewhat beloved? Don't get me wrong. I like Lillian. She has a great voice. In fact, she was a great female announcer. But why is she back is beyond me. I don't know. They must be really, really, really going down. But moving on from there, it really kind of tickled me the fact that Cody Rhodes just stood up and was like, nobody cares that you returned. Which is true, nobody really cares. And not to mention the fact that he talked about Booker T and his Fave 5. Talk about, who's going to talk about Booker T's Fave 5 with 11 people in it? I found that funny because it is true. He will not stick to 5 people. He will actually choose like 11 or 12 people, which I think was hilarious. But moving on to the first match of the night, and this was a beat the clock match. Now, I'm just going to go into it straight away before I go into the actual match itself. Beat the clock was not the match of my choice that I would choose, and the reason why is because me being traditional, I am used for beat the clock matches to be for a number one contendership for a title, whether or not it's the World Heavyweight, whether or not it's the WWE, or whether or not it's the IC or US, whatever. If it's a championship title, it would usually be a beat the clock. And from what I remember, beat the clock is usually before the Royal Rumble. So for some reason, they decided to beat the clock for only 2 competitors. So, what? I mean, from what I remember is they actually usually have 4 people that will get something out of the beat the clock match. 4 competitors to be in a beat the clock match. They had 2 this time, Wade Barrett and Randy Orton. The first match was Wade Barrett versus Big Zeke. Now, Wade Barrett versus Big Zeke, it wasn't entirely realistic to me because Big Zeke can literally beat the crap out of Wade Barrett any given day, and it will probably take no less than maybe 4 minutes for Big Zeke to beat him, because I know Wade Barrett is not going to lay down and let him, pin him or whatever. But honestly, the fact that it took 7 minutes, for Wade Barrett to actually beat Ezekiel Jackson, it kind of does make sense. I mean, because Big Zeke is big. It would take a long time for Wade Barrett to actually beat him. So it was kind of realistic. It wasn't all that bad. It's just that beat the clock would not be the match of my choice. Moving on from there, I actually do like this match. It was the Jinder Mahal versus Ted DiBiase. Now, it's not the issue with the match that's my problem, because Jinder Mahal has improved greatly. He really has improved with his in-ring skills. He's developed a little bit more flair, more finesse to his character a little bit when it comes to in-ring persona. And that's one thing that I actually do admire about him. The one thing that kind of pissed me off what the WWE did is that it seems to me that they're forcing him to be more Indian. Like, instead of him just being Jinder Mahal and actually being a heel, they're making him an Indian heel. Because when everyone remembers Jinder Mahal's debut and when he actually spoke in English for the first time, he could speak English better than any human being, better than any American in this nation. I mean, but now they're actually having him to have a Indian accent? Are they kidding me? Seriously? That's just an insult. A very stereotypical one at that. I mean, for crying out loud. What were they trying to do? But the one thing that also pissed me off the most was Ted DiBiase. He has had 0 mic time as of late. And the fact that he's going to start a feud with Jinder Mahal, how in the world can he start a feud if he has no voice? He hasn't spoke or got on the mic at least once. And I don't really understand that. I mean, they're having him be a face coming out, yay, yay, hooray, but he's not on the mic. So how can you have a feud with somebody who does not have any mic time? You have somebody, okay, instead of them having banter going back and forth like a usual feud would, They dumbed down Jinder Mahal's character by giving him an Indian accent, and they completely muted Ted DiBiase. So that's my only pet peeve of that entire match. But moving on from there, they had a Zack Ryder match, and it's always great for me to see Zack Ryder because I'm a huge Zack Ryder mark. I love Zack Ryder. Woo woo, woo woo woo. You know it, and I know that's not how it goes, but still, woo woo woo, you know it. But either or, it's always great to see Zack Ryder up there, but it really wasn't a good match for me because the fact it was with Heath Slater, and it's a given, and it was a squash match because Heath Slater is Heath Slater. Come on, man. I mean, really, we know that Zack Ryder is on the roll, and anybody that's gonna, and if Heath Slater wrestles Zack Ryder, we know that Heath Slater is gonna get buried. So there's really no point of even talking about that match. But moving on from there, I actually was impressed with Daniel Bryan. Daniel Bryan has become really aggressive as of late, and he's become very passionate. One person that really did shock me was Michael Cole. Now, Michael Cole has always been vocal as of late, but he has never been that passionate of hatred to somebody. I mean, he was literally screaming at Daniel Bryan back and forth like a bickering old married couple. I mean, I actually was kind of impressed watching that, and kind of interested in watching that because it's definitely a lot of passionate. A lot of passionate hatred to Daniel Bryan. It really did show that night, which also proves that Daniel Bryan is going to be playing a huge part in the storyline. Whether or not he's going to lose his Money in the Bank and not get a title, or whether or not he is, we don't know, but he's going to play a huge part in the storyline. Oksana. Now, from everybody that has seen my videos, you know how much I cannot stand Oksana. The fact that I really do believe that she's a waste of space, and the fact that she just does not need to be there because she's a freaking neutral. And the only time she's ever been in the ring, she's only did 2 moves and lost. It's just pathetic, and I'm sick and tired of her flirting with Teddy Long. It's disgusting. It's gross. He's old enough to be your granddad. Stop it. But either or, moving on from there. The Big Show and Mark Henry. Now, we knew that they had been building up their feud for months. Ever since Vengeance, they have been building up their feud, building up the rematch. And then when we kind of got let down from the last rematch that we just saw, they're building up this one. Because it's a chance that Big Show is probably going to take the big one. And I'm hoping that he does because it's been a very long time. I actually forgot that he actually beat Brock Lesnar for the belt. And since he mentioned Brock Lesnar, you know, it's a huge rumor that Brock Lesnar is going to be coming back. I hope he doesn't. But honestly, they may be bringing him back because the fact that WWE is really suffering as of late, that it's really becoming a lackluster performance. More than likely, he's probably going to go Raw. Who knows? I don't know. A lot of things are going to change in 2012. But going back to that match, it's a given that Mark Henry is going to lose because you know when the heel actually starts to complain, whine, blah, 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 whatever, that I'm going to lose, blah, 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 he is going to lose that belt. Whether or not it's going to be TLC or whether or not it's going to be a Royal Rumble, we don't know. But if they have a Royal Rumble match, by either or, either he's going to lose it then or he's going to lose it for the next pay-per-view. Who knows? But he's not going to keep it for long. He's not going to go beyond to WrestleMania. That's just a given right there. But moving on from there, I didn't really understood at all why Hornswoggle is involved in anything. I mean, it's great that Hornswoggle actually does have a voice, but honestly, it's like he's really starting to lose his purpose being there. But it's great to hear him talk. I'm kind of tired of him going, ha, 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 ha. Like he really doesn't have a voice when he does. It's just, you know, it's pretty pathetic on their part. But honestly, it was really great to hear him talk. I really don't think that he should have said anything when it came to the Sheamus match and versus David Otunga. And David Otunga, good grief. We all know that we are sick and tired of him being on our screen. Like, I'm sick of David Otunga being on my screen, taking up my time, wasting my money, watching this crap. I mean, honestly, either you're a wrestler or a lawyer. Make up your mind. Like, what are you gonna do? Like, he's just a bigger waste of space as Oksana. He's annoying. He really is. I really want him off my screen. I'm really tired of seeing him. He needs to go back to Harvard and become a real lawyer. But Either or, David Otunga ended up being in the match with Sheamus, and as usual, he lost. We knew that. That was a given. No point talking about this anymore. Moving on to the main event of the night. Randy Orton versus Dolph Ziggler. Now, Dolph Ziggler has had a huge push as of late. And it seems to me that Dolph Ziggler is going to be in the WWE in the running for the Fatal 4-Way. There's a huge rumor that he's going to be involved in the Fatal 4-Way, and he's actually going to take it, which means that he may lose the belt that night if that actually does happen. Either or, he is not keeping one or the other. He's going to probably lose his US championship and then probably become the WWE champion, which honestly I believe is far too soon. It's far too soon, because you really want to develop someone's character first before you actually have them be the champion, because that'll make them more believable. They'll actually have your fans more emotionally invested in you, and when you're more emotionally invested in somebody, that's when you're actually going to become a super fan, going to start buying their stuff, going to start becoming a lot more invested in their matches. So having him win the title that fast would be a huge mistake on my part. Well, I mean, it would be a huge mistake on WWE's part, in my opinion. But all in all, this match was also a beat the clock, and it was Randy Orton versus Dolph Ziggler. And well, this match was so completely unbelievable to me. Now, the match before with Wade Barrett and Big Zeke. Now, you can kind of expect the fact that Big Zeke is going to probably take 7 minutes to beat. Dolph Ziggler has been, with the matches that he's had with Randy Orton, it's always been really good matches. And Dolph Ziggler has not laid down for anybody. But it never really took all 7 minutes to beat him, unless Dolph Ziggler did everything he could to keep him away. And honestly, when I watched that match, it just seemed like the whole thing was scripted. It didn't seem like that Dolph Ziggler was doing his best to try to, keep him from actually winning. It just didn't seem like he put any effort into it. It seemed like everything was a little bit scripted. But all in all, it still was a nail biter. The fact that it took 3 minutes, he had 3 seconds left before he almost lost his opportunity of choosing his stipulation, which happens to be a tables match, by the way. But, it did keep you on the edge of your seat. It wasn't a totally terrible match. It just wouldn't be a match that I would pick. I would not pick Beat the Clock, and I've already said my reasons why that wouldn't happen. But I really wouldn't pick Beat the tongue tie. I really wouldn't pick Beat the Clock for this match. I would actually pick something else. But all in all, SmackDown as a whole was not all that bad. I actually did like it. The matches did keep me on the edge of my seat. There were a few things that were very confusing to me, like Lillian Garcia's return, let alone the Beat the Clock choosing for both of the stipulation matches, and it was like a non-title stipulation, so that didn't make any sense. Oksana. But all in all, I gotta give it a B+ for the night, which is actually a pretty decent. It's a decent grade. So it's not. It's kind of an A, but it's kind of below an A. So I'm still giving it a B+. This is a Nature Girl 30 signing off. I might do a Raw review. I'm not really sure because it's the Slammies. I'm not doing anything in tribute to the troops because it's tribute to the troops. So why in the world would I do a review on that? But all in all, I might do a Slammies review. Who knows? But I'm signing off. Peace out, y'all.